I more or less presume anybody responsible would have taken some kind of corrective action by now, because right after it happened, I posted it online. I'd already had my experience with the multiple FBI field officers that tried to hand control the zombie apocalypse of Prince Harry, because at least he was in the military. Maybe it's a sovereignty issue. Maybe that's why I don't want to listen to me. No. How am I supposed to know? I had just conducted a cross-country, coast-to-coast investigation of communications tampering at combat speed. And they said there was a virus. There was no installation file. There was no renaming, replacing. It was like I said at the start, it was an illegal investigation, like I said. And then what I say? All right. His Imperial Highness, His Majesty Justin Trudeau of Cooker, Canada is going to hold $60 trillion for me, because it's a weaponized Chomo dollar at this time. As soon as it touches King Charles' hands, it turns solid gold for some reason. Well, the nanny, I thought was supposed to represent France. I mean, she's obviously Welsh, but if she works for France, no harm was done, no lasting trauma, nothing like that in my case, but in his case either. If you got Americans roaming your streets, I wouldn't want our idiots doing anything we want your idiots doing. First, I threatened to murder a highway of blood from here to Alberta, and then right to the doors of Buckingham to make sure the mail made it through. And I said, all right, it's a global pandemic. They're blaming China because we owe China money. You hold it. I'll get it back. You see, Washington, any sovereign assertion of the right to make me sign something without reading it or taking a picture would have, along with the past, since 1992, been from the German Protestant king who was here on the land, giving the cops an excuse not to investigate certain things. I don't recall if this was before the series of unfortunate events leading to the solution of that equation. I never imagined London holding our POWs under this kind of condition. They like, I need to get a job. Forgive what's going on in Europe, let alone America. This is why I don't like hospitals. You don't have to be a hospital. I wouldn't want a king who wasn't a Templar. And I said that the Navy, they were like Templars, and the military men. I was like, there's nobody who's not a blood drinker in that position. But we're not terrorists because we go to a place and then people shoot and then we try to win. It's not a situation where we just attack some country and claim to be in charge because we wouldn't deal with them. You spend 30 some years trying to make somebody out to be a lunatic and a liar and all that. Like, I have a pretty good memory. I never lied to you. Send somebody from the United Nations who thinks they're responsible. They don't have a choice in the matter. They sign or they don't eat. Come and ask me vague questions, and it's like, well, if he had asked me in a more like loose, not necessarily like, he basically asked me if I was completely insane at this moment. Sigmund Freud was a raging homosexual, cocaine distributor, and fugitive in exile. And they took his picture in London when he went into exile. with the gay mafia. The FBI claims they caught up with Anonymous, some kid. Anonymous is the British, well, they're French, right? Whatever. They're not British. Gay mafia in Britain. Turkey's, it's their gimmick. The church doesn't protect that. Moses called it an abomination, and that means it's not part of God's creation. And whether or not any church in any place, Catholic or otherwise, is persecuting gays at any given time, it doesn't exist for purposes of whether or not I have to honor some kind of filial obligation. As you know, being put in a position of such complex stupidity. If you're going to call an Irishman crazy, Rome, the Russian protection, I understand. The Romanovs were tragic. It was a disgusting display of unwashed ignorance. They blamed him for all these terrible things the Turks did. And if you have a situation where you cannot communicate with the ostensible diplomatic authority for that region, you are tentatively in a de facto state of war. The United Nations is dumb. Entice us into an agreement at Geneva and then abandon it and give it to the Islamic State. I know that certain credit traditions work for certain things better than others in certain places, but it's the 21st century. You know, like the Mormons, because they're polygamous. Can you imagine? Various forms of credit nowadays. Nowadays, you can just leverage one tribe against the next, against the next, against the next, with no skin in the game, and then write your own firstborn son out of it, but act like he doesn't exist and accuse somebody else wait while they set something up on him. I'm just trying to eliminate any possible excuse for any owners not to allow me to talk to Washington. We're just gonna keep it this way. I know exactly how much jet fuel it takes to knock down 3 towers with 2 planes.